According to court documents, one of the twins put Jzyra in the oven, the other one turned it on. Death often comes in ways we can't predict: accidents, illness, or crime. But have you ever stopped to consider a life lost to an object meant to bring warmth to every home? An item designed to create mouth-watering meals, yet in these cases, it transforms into a prison and a tool for taking a life. Tonight, we're exploring 5 heart-wrenching tragedies that all began in the kitchen. 5 horrifying tales, each linked by a single, common object: the oven. Innocent victims, from a trapped child to lives that were deliberately taken. And you might be shocked to hear how one seemingly normal family was hiding a much darker story. What could turn a kitchen into a place of death? Was it a simple accident, or something more sinister? This is the moment where logic breaks down, and only darkness remains. We'll discover that sometimes, darkness exists in the places we least expect it. Because, you never know how deep this hole goes. Hey guys, it's Sean. Welcome back to Trace Zero. How are you all doing today? I hope you're all doing well, because tonight, we're going to be talking about something pretty heavy, true stories of some really tragic events. Before we start, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you like topics like true crime, mysteries, and tragedies that have happened all over the world. We start with Jzyra Thompson. It was the middle of November 2015, and the city of Houston, Texas, was quiet that night. But inside a modest apartment in the Sterlingshire area, a tragedy was slowly unfolding. A 5-year-old mother, Racqual Thompson, and her 1-year-old boyfriend, Cornell Malone, made what seemed like a simple decision: to quickly leave the house to get some pizza and pick up a prescription. But the house they left behind wasn't empty. Inside were 4 young children, their 5-year-old, 3-year-old twins, and a 9-month-old toddler girl named Jzyra Thompson. Without adult supervision, that night turned into a disaster. The children were playing and, as kids often are, they were curious. But their curiosity led Jzyra down the darkest of paths. Court documents stated that one of the twins put Jzyra in the oven, while the other one turned it on. For a moment, imagine an object typically used for baking pizza or cookies, suddenly turning into an instrument of death. When Racqual Thompson and Cornell Malone returned home about 2 hours later, they were immediately hit with the smell of something burnt. Racqual called out for her children, but Jzyra was nowhere to be found. When they looked into the kitchen, they discovered the oven was still hot. Racqual screamed hysterically and Cornell quickly called 911. Officers arrived around 12:30 a.m. and immediately confirmed Jzyra's condition. Unfortunately, the 9-month-old toddler was already dead. 8 days later, on the 24th of November 2015, Houston police arrested Racqual and Cornell. They weren't charged with direct killing Jzyra. Instead, they faced 4 counts of child endangerment, a charge of gross negligence for leaving young children alone in extremely dangerous conditions. The 3 surviving children were immediately placed under the supervision of Child Protective Services. Meanwhile, the court had to decide their future, whether they would be placed with a family member or in a foster home. This case brings up some big questions that are still relevant today. Was this simply a tragic accident caused by a child's curiosity? Or should we see it as a direct consequence of adult negligence? What do you all think? At what point does the line between accident and negligence actually get crossed? Comment below. Next. Next, we have a story from the Jameel Penn family. A cold night in Atlanta, Georgia, on the 7th of December 2018, became a living nightmare for a father named Jameel Penn. While out of his house, Jameel Penn called 911 in a panic. He made a horrific report. His 2 children had been found dead in his apartment under gruesome circumstances.
Atlanta 911, operator 3809.
This is Douglas County with a transfer. Go ahead, Jameel.
I just received a call from my child's mother that 2 of my youngest 2 dead babies, my sons, are dead in an apartment.
The victims were 2 young brothers, Ayante Penn, a 2-year-old boy, and his 1-year-old brother Jack Carter Penn. They were the sons of Jameel Penn and their mother, Lamora Williams, who was 24 at the time. Their older brother, 3-year-old Jameel Penn Jr., survived because he was with his father that night. Police investigation uncovered a horrifying fact. Lamora is believed to have put her 2 toddlers into an oven and turned it on. While the motive has never been fully clear, her past records and witness testimonies reveal that she had long struggled with immense life pressures, mental health issues, financial hardship, and the stress of being a single parent.
I got a daughter sitting in jail. I just came from the jailhouse to let them know to put her on suicide watch because she's going to kill herself.
When I saw that mugshot of her, I knew that was not my little sister. This was something that we saw could possibly happen. She's had issues from a baby and, issues that my mom has tried to address with the state of Georgia.
Imagine for a moment, an object that's usually in every home kitchen, used for roasting chickens or baking cakes, in a mother's hands, transforms into a tool to take her own children's lives. Jameel Penn, the father of the victims, has appeared in the media multiple times. Shaken, he spoke of how his life was forever altered the moment he was forced to accept the horrifying reality that his 2 children were gone.
It's just crazy, man. It's just so crazy. I never thought she'd do something like this.
Lamora Williams was subsequently indicted on 2 counts of malice, 2 counts of felony, and 2 counts of first-degree cruelty to children. These are extremely serious charges in the Georgia legal system. Each count carries a potential sentence of life in prison, or even the death penalty, while the cruelty to children charges add the threat of decades behind bars. This tragedy is now remembered as one of the darkest family cases in Atlanta, leaving an indelible scar on anyone who hears about it. Once again, we're forced to ask, what could drive a mother to the point where she sees an oven not just as a cooking appliance but as a means to end her own children's lives? Was it simply economic pressure, or is there another dark side that has never been truly revealed? According to you, how should society handle warning signs from mentally distressed parents before a tragedy like this happens? Comment below. Next. Now, let's talk about Walmart bakery employee, Gursimran Kaur. On Saturday evening, the 19th of October 2024, in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, the atmosphere at the Mumford Road Walmart branch seemed normal. The bakery area was nearly finished with its closing cleanup. Inside the room was a young 9-year-old girl named Gursimran Kaur, along with her mother, Baljeet Kaur. Driven by big dreams and a strong determination, Gursimran Kaur moved to Canada to help her family build a better life. For her, this job isn't just about making a living. Her friends know her as a cheerful, hard-working person who's always smiling, no matter how tired she is. On that particular evening, around 9:30 p.m., Baljeet began to feel uneasy. Her daughter was nowhere to be found in the work area, and she wasn't answering her phone. Baljeet frantically paced the bakery and even checked the back alley, but there was still no sign of Gursimran. What started as worry quickly became full-blown panic. Approximately an hour later, a coworker noticed something strange about the walk-in oven. The heavy steel door was slightly fogged up, and a weird smell was coming from inside. With trembling hands, Baljeet pulled the oven door open. That's where she found her daughter, trapped and helpless inside the still-running oven. Halifax police were immediately called, and an investigation began right away. Initially, the public suspected foul play. However, after a thorough investigation, police announced there were no signs of a criminal act.
Just be patient with our investigation and let us do our job.
Gursimran's death was ruled a tragic accident, though the technical details still left many questions unanswered. How could such a large walk-in oven be sealed so tightly from the outside? And why didn't the emergency safety release work at that crucial moment? These are the questions that continue to put this case in the spotlight. The Sikh community and the wider Indian community in Halifax were quick to respond. They put pressure on authorities to conduct a deeper investigation into workplace safety standards. The Maritime Sikh Society spearheaded a solidarity effort, not only offering moral support but also raising funds through a GoFundMe campaign. The campaign successfully raised over 194,000 Canadian dollars, around 140,000 US dollar, which was used to cover funeral costs and help Gursimran's family, who were still in India, travel to Canada. Many community members are demanding that Walmart be more transparent about how the oven could have been operated without adequate safety measures.
Family is absolutely shocked, they are in a kind of a...
To them, this tragedy isn't just a freak accident, it's proof that the safety of young workers is often disregarded. Following the incident, Walmart temporarily closed the Mumford Road location, started renovating the bakery, and removed the oven. The company also extended its condolences to the family and offered counseling services to affected staff. Amidst it all, the sense of loss remains profound. Baljeet Kaur, a mother who came to Canada with high hopes, now must return home without her daughter. This case raises a huge question. Was Gursimran simply a victim of a tragic accident, or was he a casualty of a negligent system that failed to provide even the most basic safety? And beyond that, how many more tragedies have to happen before major corporations truly put the safety of their workers above all else? Who do you think should be held responsible in this case? Was it just an accident, or was there a bigger negligence behind it? On the 14th of December 2010, a terrible tragedy struck a kayak manufacturing plant, Pirana Mouldings Limited, in Runcorn, Cheshire, England. The factory had long been known as a world-class producer of kayaks, and that afternoon, it was business as usual. The air was filled with the sounds of machinery and the clang of metal, and no one suspected the day would end in disaster. The victim in this incident was Alan Catterall, a 4-year-old father of 3. Alan had been a long-time employee at the factory, known for being meticulous, friendly, and dedicated. For Alan, his job wasn't just a way to earn a living. It was a source of pride. His friends described him as a very responsible person, who always maintained safety standards in every task. Around 1 p.m. that afternoon, Alan went inside a giant industrial oven used to heat plastic kayak molds. His job was to perform some cleaning and maintenance inside the oven. Unbeknownst to him, a coworker, unaware that Alan was still inside, started the machine for the next heating cycle. As soon as the start button was pressed, the oven door automatically closed and locked, as per its built-in safety system. In a matter of seconds, Alan was trapped inside the sealed metal chamber. The temperature inside the oven began to rise, heading toward 280 degrees Celsius, around 536 degrees Fahrenheit, the heat required for molding kayaks. Alan desperately tried to get out. He pounded on the walls of the oven, attempting to get his colleagues' attention. According to the investigation, he even used his mobile phone to try and call someone. But the noise of the factory and the thick walls of the oven meant his screams went unheard. The temperature kept climbing, making the situation unbearable. Alan's colleagues only realized something was wrong when they heard loud knocking from inside the oven. They rushed to shut down the machine and open the door. But by the time they got the door open, it was too late. Alan was found lifeless. His cause of death was severe burns and hot smoke inhalation. This tragedy triggered a major investigation by the Health and Safety Executive, HSE, the UK's workplace safety body. Investigators found that safety procedures at Pirana Mouldings were extremely poor. There was no fail-safe system to ensure the oven couldn't be turned on while a worker was inside. Communication between workers was also found to be subpar, making the risk of a fatal accident extremely high. The case was subsequently brought to court. After a lengthy legal process, in 2015, Pirana Mouldings Limited was found guilty of breaching the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. The judge imposed a fine of £200,000 and ordered the company to pay costs of around £90,000. The court emphasized that Alan Catterall's death could have been prevented had the company implemented adequate safety procedures. In court, Alan's wife, Pearl Catterall, was present with their children. With a voice full of emotion, Pearl described Alan as a loving husband and a wonderful father. Losing Alan not only left the family with profound grief, but it also served as a stark reminder of the dangers of workplace negligence. Pearl emphasized that no amount of money could ever replace her husband's life, but she hoped this tragedy would be a crucial lesson so that other companies don't repeat the same mistakes. The death of Alan Catterall is now remembered as one of the most tragic workplace safety cases in the UK. His story is a stark example of how procedural negligence, poor communication, and a disregard for safety standards can lead to a fatal outcome. An industrial oven, typically used for molding kayaks, became a deadly trap, leaving an indelible wound on the family and colleagues he left behind. Here's the last, and no less tragic, event: the Kansas City tragedy. On Friday, the 9th of February 2024, around 1:30 p.m., a 911 operator in Kansas City, Missouri, received a frantic call from a house on Northeast 35th Street. The voice on the phone was hysterical, begging for police to come immediately. The caller didn't provide many details, only that a baby was seriously injured. When police and paramedics arrived, the scene was one that would haunt them forever. In the kitchen, they found a 1-month-old baby girl. Her tiny body was covered in severe burns, and what silenced everyone was the fact that she was found inside a lit kitchen oven. The person responsible wasn't a stranger or a babysitter, it was her own mother, 6-year-old Mariah Thomas. In an initial report, Mariah claimed she had misplaced her baby. She said she intended to put the baby to bed in its crib but somehow ended up placing it in the oven instead. Police were immediately suspicious of this claim, as it defies common sense that a mother could mistakenly put a baby in an oven instead of a crib. The autopsy confirmed that the infant died from fatal burns. With this finding, Mariah's explanation became increasingly implausible, and authorities have stated that this was no ordinary accident. Mariah Thomas was arrested on the scene and taken into custody. Jackson County prosecutors have charged her with felony child abuse resulting in death, one of the most serious charges in the state of Missouri. If convicted, she faces a maximum penalty of life in prison. A court ordered that Mariah be held without bond at the Jackson County Detention Center. She is currently awaiting trial, and prosecutors have not yet specified whether they will seek the maximum penalty. The Kansas City police chief described the case as one of the most horrific incidents we have ever handled. He added, "This baby should have had a future, a chance to grow up and play. It should not have ended this way." Neighbors were shocked. Many said Mariah seemed normal, although there were whispers about her mental health issues. This speculation has split the public. Was this a purely cruel and intentional act, or were there psychological factors driving it? This case was quickly picked up by major American news outlets. Big names like ABC, the Associated Press, and People all ran stories recapping the events. Many headlines called the case bizarre and hard to believe. This case raises some incredibly difficult questions. How could a mother do something like this to her own child? Were there underlying mental health issues that haven't been revealed yet? Or was this a purely criminal act, committed with full awareness? Even for officers accustomed to dealing with all kinds of tragedies, this case was deeply unsettling. The police who arrived at the scene admitted they needed counseling after seeing the baby's condition firsthand. This tragedy has also drawn comparisons to similar past cases, where an oven, a tool meant for cooking and providing warmth for a family, was instead turned into an instrument of death. And this brings us back to the fundamental question: is this just an egregious oversight, or is it a cold-hearted, malicious intent? Do you guys think this case should be viewed purely as a criminal act, or should the perpetrator's mental state be taken into account? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. And those are 5 heartbreaking tragedies, 5 true stories that all share one common thread: ovens. A simple item that's supposed to bring comfort to every kitchen instead became a tool of death. From parental negligence and brutal criminals to workplace tragedies, we see how one object can take such a dark turn. These cases aren't just about how someone died, but also a stark reminder that sometimes the darkest shadows can emerge from the places we feel safest, our own homes. What do you think is the biggest lesson we can learn from these tragedies? Is it purely a matter of human negligence, or is there something deeper at play about intention, psychology, or even the darker side of everyday life? I'd really love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And before we wrap up this video, I want to announce a new segment we're launching called Trace Your Story. For this segment, you can send in real-life stories that have happened to you, from horror stories and infidelity to crimes or any other true account. Send your story to virellsean@gmail.com using this format. Email subject: Trace Your Story. Story title: Email body: Tell us about your experience in as much detail as possible. Feel free to include photos divided by footage if you have any. Optional contact: your WhatsApp number or another way to contact you, if you're open to us asking for more details. We'll do our best to create and narrate your experience. I'm really looking forward to reading your emails, and who knows, your story might be the very first one featured on Trace Your Story. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Don't forget to send in your stories. I'll be waiting, and I can't wait to read them. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our other investigative stories. And remember, sometimes the truth is scarier than fiction. I'm Sean, and if you're still watching this, maybe you're looking for the something I am. Thanks, and I'll see you again on Trace 0.
My baby, you were mine.